And my name is Bandrew. I am an idiot on the internet. So go ahead and stick around. And we will not be discussing what just occurred, but later we will be discussing the tragedy, the train wreck that is my face. We will be discussing what's happening here, and it's nothing good. It's nothing good. I wanted to point that out because I am sure some people will see it and just start screaming in the comments. We will address it at the end of the show because we can't ignore it. It's so bad. It's so bad. Anyway, what have I been testing? You are listening to it currently. I'm pulling the MKBHD meme. I've been using this for the last 3 weeks. That's what MKBHD sounds like, right? Marquez, he sounds like a 1920s carnival barker. I've been using this for the last 3 weeks. Is that a carnival barker? I don't know. I'm on the Earthworks. This is the new Ethos. Full disclosure, this was sent to me by Earthworks prior to release so I could use it, develop my opinions, get a lot of experience with it before releasing my review, which I will be doing on Tuesday. Big surprise. That's the big news. But that's what I'll be using for this episode. $700 broadcast condenser microphone. I have done some comparisons. Comparing it to the Icon Pro, it's a shockingly different sound profile. Now, we'll do a bunch of tests with and without the foam windscreen and try to determine exactly why it sounds so different. But I'll tell you what, I like it. I like that they tamed the top end a bit. The Icon Pro sounds incredibly realistic, and that can be either a good thing or a bad thing. I like microphones to do me favors, and this microphone gives you a lot of the benefit of that realistic condenser sound like the Icon Pro, but it does a bit more in terms of favors for your voice, which I'm a big fan of. If you want to know more, just chime in, check in on Tuesday. Why are words so hard today? I got an extra hour of sleep, and I still can't function properly. I'm not going to talk about what you had to say. There were a bunch of incredibly interesting comments last week. Go read through the comments. A lot of really cool stuff in terms of portable travel, ultimate podcast setups. That was a very interesting discussion, and thank each and every one of you for getting involved in that. Really a lot of fun to read through. But let's jump to the Ask Bandrew segment. That's what we're doing. Welcome back to the Ask Bandrew segment. If you have questions that you want me to answer in about 10 years, go to askbandrew.com. There are instructions on how to send in audio, video, and text. I do prefer audio and video because then I don't have to read. I am an idiot. I suck at reading. I'm bad at it. I am bad at speaking as well. So why do I have a podcast? I do not know. I don't know. I don't even like my own ideas. Why do I feel as though I ought to broadcast them all over the internet? Yet here we are. It must be my stubbornness. I started it so I will never quit until the day I'm dead. I hope that's a long time in the future. I don't want to die. I don't know how we got here. This is exactly why I don't deserve a podcast. But if you have questions, askbandrew.com. Maybe you want to ask me questions about death. Do it. Let's jump to the first audio submission. These are all pulled off of the SpeakPipe app, which I have not been checking. I apologize. And one of these goes back to March, April, quite a while ago. So take it away, Jacob from Moscow, which I have learned is pronounced Moskva. I totally butchered that, but that's how you pronounce it in Russian, I believe. Take it away, Jacob.
Hi, Bandrew. My name's Jacob. I'm from Moscow. First of all, I'd like to ask you how you're doing. Hope you're doing well. And I have one question. What, in your opinion, is the best budget USB microphone for vocals? Because the first thing that comes to my mind is like Roland T USB Mini. But I wondered if there were some alternatives to it, in, that $100 range or $150 range. Thanks.
Jacob, thank you very much for the voice submission. I apologize that it took so long to get back to you. To answer your first question, how am I doing? I'm doing wonderfully. I had a good night's sleep. I had a late start. I drank a bunch of coffee. I went for a walk. It was just a wonderful day. And guess what I did after that? Right before beginning recording, I took a big old chunk out of this baguette and just ate it. Like a monster. Just eating a baguette as I walk around my home, just munching on that thing. Absolute disgusting, sloppy bastard that I am. But then you ask, best budget USB microphone for vocals. I know that it is a bit of a meme at this point, but for the price around $70, sometimes you can find it for $40 to $50. The Samson Q2U really is one of the best options if you're looking for a USB mic and you still want some functionality in terms of headphone output, all of that. If you don't want any functionality whatsoever and you are looking for a condenser microphone, the Razer Siren Mini is shockingly good for the price. It's $50, but you are not getting a headphone output. You're not getting anything. It is just capturing audio that you put in front of it, and it sounds surprisingly good. So if you want that condenser sound and you're on a tight budget, Razer Siren Mini. If you are going for more spoken word dynamic microphone, I would recommend the Q2U from Samson. But if you can stretch a little bit, I think around $100 you have some good options in terms of getting something like the Behringer XM8500, which is $20, XLR dynamic microphone, and then the M-Audio M-Track 2X2. Is that what it's called? M-Track Solo, maybe. M-Track Solo. That's a $50 audio interface, so you would end up being around $70. Then you throw in a Neewer boom arm for $15, an XLR to XLR cable for $10, and what else do you need? A pop filter for maybe $7, and you're about $100. That is the route that I would recommend going, because then you have more upgrade paths. It would make it easier to decide where you want to go from there, rather than just having an all-in-one device and then saying, well, I paid $50 or $70 for this, and now I need to toss it away and buy an entire new setup. So that's what I would recommend going, but let me know if you've already purchased something, because this question was sent in March or April. So you probably already decided, and I would love to know what you landed on, Jacob. So thank you very much for the question. Hopefully that helped you, and if it did not help you, I hope it helped somebody else who is listening to this who had the same question. Next, we have a voice submission from Cynical. Take it away, Cynical.
Hi, Bandrew. My name is Cynical, and you might be able to hear it, but there's like a hiss in the background. I've tried recording on different softwares and all that, and looking at the settings and turning my gain up and down. I don't know what the problem is, but there's a noticeable hiss in my vocals here. And I was wondering if you had any suggestions on how to fix that, because I can't seem to find the problem. I'm recording with an Audio-Technica M8000 hypercardioid dynamic microphone, running that into a Presonus Audio Box 96. So yeah, this is how I sound. Hopefully it sounds good. It probably doesn't, though. Love your content. Thanks for answering my question, if you do.
Cynical, thank you very much for the question, and you stated that there is a noticeable hiss in the recording, and you ask for any suggestions on how to fix it, and then, as everybody should, when you're asking for technical advice, you provide insight into what you are doing. You're using the Audio-Technica M8000 hypercardioid dynamic microphone. Why did I say dynamic microphone? Into the Presonus Audio Box 96. I listened back to this, cranked up my headphones really loud, and that just sounded like preamp noise to me. It sounded like a really noisy preamp. So what I did, because I don't think I have this specific interface, I went to the current interface review master on YouTube, Julian Krause, and he did a review of this, and as suspected, the preamps on the PreSonus AudioBox 96 are terrible. They're really, really noisy. If I remember correctly, I don't have the stats in front of me, the EIN for the AudioBox 96 was around negative 117 decibels. That's about 10 dB louder than the majority of its competition. The M-Track Solo, which is a $50 interface, I think that has an EIN of around negative 125 to maybe negative 128. I don't know. My point is, the preamps on that are incredibly noisy, and you only have two different solutions to this. I guess three. First would be get a different interface that has better preamps, less noise, a lower EIN. You want that number to be lower. So negative 128, negative 127 is pretty standard. That's what you'll see on something like the Focusrite 18i20 or 2i2. One of those, you'll see negative 127 to negative 128 dBA weighted. That's a good figure to look for. The other option would be get some kind of inline microphone preamp, but most of the decent ones are around $100, if not more. So why not just get a better interface? Because a better interface is going to be around the same price. And then the third option would be go for a condenser microphone. And if I'm not mistaken, the AudioBox 96 does have phantom power. If it has phantom power, because I know there was some PreSonus interface, I think it was PreSonus, that didn't have phantom power, so you couldn't use any condenser microphone with it. It was really weird. I think that one has phantom power. So that would be the third route. Get a condenser microphone. But I think investing in a better performing audio interface would be the route to go. And then you can continue to use that microphone if you like the sound of it. And you should have a much lower noise floor, because negative 117 dBA is brutal. That is terrible in terms of equivalent input noise. Preamps should not be that loud in 2020. Crazy. I will link Julian's video in the episode notes in case you want to watch it. I highly recommend it. And if you want good information, just go to his latest interface review. And there's a specific section in his interface reviews where he will provide a ranking of the EIN of all of the preamps. And he has an entire chart of all the other functions as well. It's really crazy and in-depth. Watch Julian's videos to find out which one is going to give you the best value in terms of preamp noise performance to dollar cost. There you go. Hopefully that helped. Best of luck, Cynical. And let me know what you found also, because this was months ago that you sent this in. Next, we have a voice submission from Hint of Shrimp. Take it away, Hint of Shrimp.
Okay. Hi, Bandrew. My name's Hint of Shrimp, and I'm here to ask you a little question. Basically, I got a new mic recently. It's my first condenser mic. It would be the X1A by SE Electronics, and it's about $100 mic, and I got it for free in a giveaway, so I can't really complain much, but I can't get it to work. I'm using it with a Behringer UMC22, which I'll be upgrading to a Scarlett 2i2 soon, but for now this is what I got. And basically what happens was when I plug it in and I turn on the phantom power, it it automatically clips. At least that's what it says. And I can't hear anything. Or maybe I can hear a little bit, but it's very distorted. One of those two settings is very distorted, I can tell. But the point is that it's just when I plug it in and I put on the phantom power, it doesn't work. So if there's some other step involved that I'm not knowing about, yeah, that would be helpful if you, maybe there's a video you could just redirect me to. Yeah. If you want to play this whole minute and 25 seconds of me sounding like a special person, then be my guest. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay, so you got the SEX1A condenser microphone, the SEX1A, and you are using the Behringer UMC22, and you cannot get the condenser microphone to work. I'll tell you, while I was listening to this, I was thinking, I hope this person is actually turning on the phantom power. And then you mentioned, when you turn on phantom power, it shows that you're clipping, but you cannot hear anything. And you ask, are there any other steps that you need to take? No, there's nothing else that you need to do. Once you plug in a condenser microphone and turn on 48 volts of phantom power, it should function. There is one thing that I'm going to point out. I am assuming that you're doing this, but I want to make sure. If you're using a condenser microphone, you need to make sure that you're using an XLR to XLR cable. Because if you're using any other output, if you're using 3.5 millimeter, or if you're using 1/4 inch, you will not be getting power to the microphone. 3.5 millimeter, I think it's capable of carrying up to 4 volts, which can power some electret condenser microphones. But as far as 1/4 inch will transfer 0 volts. So if you're running XLR to 1/4 inch into your interface, you will not be getting any power to the microphone, which would be why it's not functioning. I'm assuming that's not the case. I'm assuming you're using an XLR to XLR cable and you're turning on phantom power and you're not getting any level and it's showing that you're clipping. To me, that sounds like some kind of issue with either, it could be anything in your signal path. It could be the microphone, it could be the cable, or it could be the interface. And without being there and being able to transfer different items in to trade in a different XLR cable or a different mic or a different interface, it's really impossible for me to troubleshoot that. Unfortunately, I would be able to say, I know exactly what that is. But I don't, because I don't have that in front of me and I can't tell you what it is. So I would love to know. Again, this is another question that was sent in months ago. Let's see, do I know when this was sent in? Back in July, the 25th of July. Sorry it took so long to get to you, Hinta Shrimp. I apologize. But let me know what you ended up finding out, what was causing that, because I imagine 4 months later, you have resolved this. And I would love to know what caused it. Was it the interface, the cable, or the microphone? I would like to assume that during my air conditioning turning on, that the giveaway, they didn't say, we're going to do a giveaway knowing that they were giving away a broken microphone. That would be really shady. I hope that wasn't the case. But let me know in the comments down below. As long as you're using XLR to XLR cable, you should not need any other steps to get the condenser mic to work. Plug in the microphone to your audio interface, turn the gain all the way down, turn on phantom power, then gain it up to set your level, and you should be rocking and a rolling. Okay, we have one last voice submission from Matt. Matt, take it away, good sir.
Hey, Bandrew, you knucklehead. This is Matt J. I host the You Are Not Alone, a Recovery podcast, a podcast on recovery and alcoholism and overcoming addiction. And the question I have for you is, for a number of years, I've been using GarageBand, which has served me very well for my podcast. But I feel as though I'm starting to outgrow it, and I have gone beyond the features that I have. And I know that you use Logic Pro X, and was curious if you would recommend it for podcasters. Now, I have to say, unlike you, I'm not a musician. I don't play guitar. I don't play an instrument. I'm not recording that stuff. This is strictly voiceover work I might want to do, and also podcasting. Is the $200 worth it in your opinion, or should I just stick with GarageBand? Thanks, Bandrew.
All righty. You have been using GarageBand for years, but you have outgrown the features, and you are asking if you should upgrade to Logic Pro X. First thing I'll say, I upgraded from GarageBand back in 2000 2011. That was before I quit drinking. So I have no idea. I cannot remember what features I was missing in GarageBand that led to me upgrading to Logic Pro 10. The second thing I'm going to say is, I know there are features that are missing from Logic Pro for a lot of podcasters. That would be, main one being ripple editing. That's something that is very popular for voice work and for podcasters. What that is, you highlight a section of the audio, you click delete, and then the audio on the right-hand side of your screen zooms together with the audio on the left, and now there is no gap. In Logic Pro, if you highlight a piece of audio and you delete that, the audio on the left and the right are going to stay exactly where they are, and you will have silence during that portion for that entirety of that deleted section, and you will need to manually grab the audio from the right and drag it to meet up with the other audio. So that is something that I know drives a lot of people to other DAWs for podcasting and audio editing. For me, I don't care. I will be 100% honest with you. I don't do any editing in Logic Pro. That's because I'm an idiot, and I decided to make this a video podcast as well. So in Logic Pro, I haven't edited audio in years. I will process my audio in Logic Pro, but then I bounce it as WAV, drop it into Final Cut, and then do the video editing, because if I'm screwing up deleting portions of the audio before I bounce it and sync it up to video, it's going to be all off, way all over the place. The audio is going to be shorter than the entirety of the video. Just wouldn't work. So I don't do any editing in Logic Pro. So the last thing that I will say is, if you have done your research and decided or determined that the features in GarageBand no longer meet your needs, and the features in Logic Pro resolve those issues, I see no reason why you shouldn't upgrade. And the reason I'm saying that, all DAWs, digital audio workstations, which is what Logic Pro, GarageBand, Pro Tools, Reaper, those are all DAWs. They all do the exact same thing. It's just going to have a slightly different workflow. And the reason I'm saying, if you know that Logic Pro is going to work for you, it has the features that you want, I would say go for it, is because Logic Pro is like the growing up version of GarageBand, so you won't need to relearn the DAW. But if Logic Pro, if you've done the research and you've learned that Logic Pro doesn't have all the features that you need, then look into other DAWs, see if they have the features that will make your job a bit easier, and then consider switching over. Because especially once you invest money into one of these DAWs, it's going to be a situation where you end up just getting stuck in your ways. I started using Logic Pro in 2011, and it could have been any DAW at that point, and that's what I would still be using. But I started in Logic Pro. That was my first paid. Actually, I do think that I had Pro Tools back in 2005, 2006, because I got one of those Pro Tools bundles. You got a crappy limited version of Pro Tools with an audio interface. What was it? I can't remember what it was. M-Audio Box? M-Audio, I think it was. Irrelevant. It could be anything. So as long as the features meet your needs, I would say go for it, because you won't have to relearn the entire layout and functionality of the software. You already know GarageBand, meaning it's going to be much easier to learn Logic Pro. And as far as $200 being worth it, probably some of the best $200 I've ever spent, because I bought it back in 2011-ish, or whenever they upgraded to the current Logic Pro X. I think I had Logic Pro 9, and then I bought the $200 Logic Pro X as well, which may have been 2013. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I paid $200 once, and I have gotten significant upgrades every single year. Some of the best money I've ever spent in terms of audio. So there you go. Matt, I hope that was helpful, and I hope that gave you some insight. Again, this is so long ago, back in August. I assume you have already upgraded, and I would love to know what you decided on. Did you go with Logic Pro X? Did you go the route of Reaper or other things? Okay, water break. All right. Now let's talk about this tragedy that is on my face. I know this is disgusting. I know this looks terrible. I hate it with all of my being. I don't think I have ever gone more than 3 days without shaving, and for obvious reasons, because this is repulsive. This is absolutely repulsive, disgusting. I hate it. So why am I doing this? Because I had always thought, oh, you know what? I'll try it one time. I'll see how long I can go without shaving and just see what happens. And I have always gone into the office. I have always had an office to go into. And I don't know why the last year and a half I didn't try this before. But now, I'm still not going into the office. I'm working remotely, so why not give it a shot and see how disgusting this can get. And at the worst case scenario is it'll be funny. It'll be funny to look at. It may be disgusting to look at, but it'll still be funny. Because frankly, if I were to be going into an office and not shaving and I was going in like this, people would start to be worried about me. They would say, did you lose your home? Are you living in your car? Can we make you some food? Are you sober? What's wrong? Can we help you? What can we do to help? There's something clearly wrong with you. But people aren't asking that question now that I'm not going into an office, so I can give this a shot and see how disgusting it can get. I don't think I can last much longer because this is rough. This is just straight up. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's horrible. That's it. That's all I've got for you this week. So let's end it there. I hope you have an amazing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Next Sunday, I will talk at you. Make sure to go check out Podcastage on Tuesday for a review of the Earthworks Ethos. Again, full disclosure, it was sent to me, but this isn't a review. It's just me using it to get real-world experience with it, even though I've already had it for 3 weeks. Okay, I will talk to you all next week. I love you, and my name is Bandrew. I am an average height white person with a disgusting face with just this tragedy, this car crash on it. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer is Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.